all your stuff. What can figure it out? That's how it chooses you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the podcast It Chooses You, and this is our weekly Smidgen edition.
It's the Smidge-a-dish. That's what the cool kids call it anyway.
I'm Teresa Sparks.
I'm Claire Patton.
We talk about things we like, including, we say pop culture, but really it's just culture, because the pop part is not something we're good at.
Yeah. The pop is the relevance. Definitely
irrelevant. It's all good stuff. So, for example, on this Smidgen, we're going to talk about a movie that's 20 years old that no one has seen.
The movie's called The American Astronaut. And Teresa, you requested that I watch this film to prepare for today.
Yes.
And first of all, I want to thank you because this is the kind of thing I would never watch on my own. It's too artsy and quirky. I hate to admit that about myself, you know. I mean, I've watched some artsy, quirky films and enjoyed them, but it always feels like a little more work than watching, I don't know, Ted Lasso.
I demand to be passive.
Exactly. The second thing is, I want to know how the fuck you found this movie. It was a selection at the Sundance and Cannes film festivals. Mm-hmm. It's from 2001. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
How did you find this? How did you come across this?
Yeah, so I didn't find it because, like you, it's too artsy for me as well. And I don't go on the hunt for these kind of movies. I ended up seeing it for the first time at the International Film Series at a local university. I think the year it came out, they had it. And that was great. It's a tiny little lecture hall that was sort of like in the history building or something. Maybe 100 seats, 150 seats. And they had a film series. It was like every Thursday night they would show a double feature of two different movies, something like that. And I had friends who are that artsy and who are on the lookout for these kind of movies. And they're like, we're all going to go see this movie. Do you want to come? And I was, I'm sure, chasing some guy who was going to be going. And I was like, I absolutely do. And also I want to sit next to what's his name.
Everybody knows artsy films equals sex.
I'm not in it for the art. So, yes, went to see it there with some friends. And as you know, I think at that, well, I don't know if we knew one another at the time, but as you probably know at that time in my life, I was high almost all the time.
This actually would have been about 5 years before we met.
Yeah. So this is prehistory for Claire and Teresa, this film.
This is your way of folding me in to your prehistory, isn't it?
I'm slowly pulling you back. I've pulled you back into all of my junior high and high school situations.
But there are some gaps that we need to fill, like 2001 to 2006.
This is the start of that journey. You're welcome, everybody. That'll be the next 6 months. So yes, went to see this movie and was definitely high when I watched it. And I know that I was high when I watched it because when I watched it again several years later, I was like, I don't remember any of this.
I distinctly remember thinking while watching it the other day, this would be amazing if I was high. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. The second thing is I kind of knew what I was in for when I pulled it up on Amazon and the other suggested similar films included Flash Gordon.
Yeah. I think it recommends Flash Gordon specifically because of one of the costumes, and we'll talk about that costume in a second.
If I could just describe this in the simplest of terms, I would say it's a space musical if it were directed by George Orwell.
Sure, I'll take that. Corey Maccabee wrote and directed it. He's the one who plays Sam Curtis, the astronaut. The American Astronaut is a story of an American astronaut. It's a space western. He's out there in a ship on his own, and he has adventures. Specifically, he has a very convoluted task to pull off, where he's getting something from somewhere, taking it to somewhere else to get a second thing, then taking that second thing to a third place to get a third thing, and then taking the third thing to a fourth place to get rich. So that's the story.
We should also say it's black and white.
It's black and white, and the music is such a big part of it. As I was rewatching, I was like, oh, if I just think of it as a movie-length music video, that's probably a more accurate way of preparing someone to watch it.
That's exactly what I thought. I was about 15 minutes in and I thought, oh, this is a really long fever dream music video. But it's a relatively straightforward plot. It's graspable. But then the way they take that journey is where the artsiness, a lot of it centers in the beginning around this space outpost on an asteroid.
Yes.
And the big thing is that there's a dance contest happening that night. So it's that kind of contrast and wacky sensibility that sort of defines the film.
Yeah. There's a dance contest happening in a cowboy bar on an asteroid. And the people who win the dance contest are not good dancers.
Right.
But everyone treats them as though they're great dancers. That's maybe not interesting to anyone but me, but I love that. Like,
Yeah.
they're so clearly bad, and everyone's like, yeah!
My other favorite thing is that the opener for the dance contest is a comedian.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And he does his set, and what's great is that every time he actually tells a joke, every time he recites a punchline, nobody laughs. But when he says things that are totally normal, like Mr. So-and-so was walking down the street, they cackle.
Yeah.
And there's this crescendo of their laughter at the mundane things he says instead of the punchline, which I really enjoyed.
So that scene is one of the reasons that it would be really good to watch high, because the pacing in this is like, time is like dilated somehow. Like, everything goes a lot more slowly than you would expect it to go.
That's partly what reminded me of a George Orwell film, actually.
The guy who tells the Hertz donut joke tells a real joke before that, when he's sitting at the bar next to Sam Curtis, the astronaut, which is it just me or do my balls itch? And then Sam Curtis goes, I think it's just you. And he's like, great, because for a minute there, I thought my balls itched.
Yeah.
And that is very, very funny to me. I enjoy it very much. That's one of the things I like the best about it, is it's super weird, but it doesn't take itself seriously. Even though it's shot as though it takes itself seriously. It's black and white, it's very grubby, and there are a lot of extreme close-ups.
Grubby is a really good word for the film style.
Everyone is dirty all the time. And the reason I wanted to watch it again is because my favorite part of the movie is a musical number toward the beginning called Hey Boy, where the Blueberry Pirate sends two men into a bathroom after Sam Curtis, and Sam Curtis is in a bathroom stall. And they set up a record player, put on some music, and then they do a song and dance number to get his attention. And then they take a photo of him on the toilet. And so that's the scene. And the song, I remember watching it in the theater and losing my mind when they started dancing, because they're just walking around to start with. And then all of a sudden, one of them is doing like solo jazz stuff, and another one like hunches down and starts clapping. And it's just hilariously funny.
It is. They're very stiff for the first part of the song. And then suddenly they break out into this wild dancing. And they're not dancers.
No.
So it's very loose and funny and free. It's a really great visual punchline.
Yeah. It's very good. Well, anyway, so that scene, I was like, oh, I should watch that movie again. And then as I watched it, I realized how funny it is. And the funny parts are the things that move the story along for me.
There were funny moments to me, but there were often times where I felt like I was watching an inside joke that I wasn't a part of. So I did feel excluded from the humor. That's where I was like, if I were high, I wouldn't feel exclusion here. But because I was sober, I felt excluded. So there were times where I'm like, I think this should be funny, but it isn't to me in this moment, and I don't know why. So there were a few moments like that throughout.
I definitely did not feel excluded when I saw it for the first time. I was fascinated and fully involved and thought it was hilarious. I think the takeaway, like, you can rent this movie for $3 or something. I think you can buy it for under $10. It's definitely worth watching because I haven't seen anything like it. The combination of sort of comedy, space western, and music video, I haven't seen anything like it. It's unique. And I just want to leave you with a line that my friends and I sort of took away from our viewing of it. One of the characters in the movie is a boy who lives on the mining planet of Jupiter, and he's treated as a god because he at one point saw a woman's breast, and no one on this planet has ever done that but him.
They even call him the boy who once saw a woman's breast or something like that. He has a title.
That's his title. And so when we are introduced to him, he's giving a performance, which is supposed to be him telling the miners about what it was like to see the breast, to sort of motivate them to keep working hard. And what it actually is him up there showing off and dancing around, doing what he wants to do. And then at the end, he says, it was round and soft. Go back to work. So it's clearly just like about him enjoying being the center of attention, and the breast is fully secondary, as it should be. You mentioned Flash Gordon earlier. Mm-hmm. He's wearing like a Flash Gordon style like breastplate shoulder situation with a winged Mercury style helmet. Or headband, actually, not helmet. His hair is visible. And he looks like an extra from a 30s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And when Sam Curtis takes him in his spaceship to transport him to a new planet as part of Sam's journey, this boy is one of the trades he has to make, right? And they are trading people, so it's pretty dark up there. But he's talking to the boy, and he's like, how long have they been making you wear this stuff? And the boy said, the word is not make, it's let. They let me wear whatever I want. And so he's chosen to wear this outfit. There's no through line of the humor. It's just these individual moments that are so intensely funny when you compare the visual to what's happening in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So we took that joke away, my friends and I. The word is not make, it's let. And I had forgotten that we did that. And the next time I see any of those friends, I'm going to ask them how long they've been making you wear that, and we'll see if they bring it back. Well, I'm glad that you liked it.
I did.
About every 5 or 6 years, it's good to just dip back in and see what that film has for you. You guys can find it on, I think you can rent it on Amazon, so I hope you will. I'm definitely going to be tweeting some lines from the Blueberry Pirate this week, so keep an eye out for those.
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Please download, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. If you really, really like the podcast, please go to patreon.com/itchoosesyou, where you can throw a little cash our way and help us keep the podcast ad-free. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Testing? Great. Thank you for listening to It Chooses You. Your hosts are Teresa Sparks and Claire Patton. Our theme song is by Bobby Dart. If you'd like to get in touch with us, drop us an email at itchoosesyoupodcast@gmail.com.